Welcome everybody back to Big Fat Dubs Brackets. So we are, if you haven't yet, go watch the other one that's going to be uploaded here on Tuesday. I think might just start doing this every other week. I think that would be a good idea. But welcome to this edition of brackets, voting brackets. This one we are doing Marvel and DC superheroes, not movies. That's actually going to be one we're going to do next time. But welcome to this one. Like I said, same thing formatted. If you've seen the other one, we're just going to go down each row on each side, and then we'll come back and we'll just rotate through it, and we'll see who comes out the winner.
It's fight night here on Big Fat Dubs. So, little intro on this. This is heroes and villains, as you can see. So, as we make our picks and everything like that, we're going to base it off of everything that we know, based on movies, based on cartoons, based on comic books, whatever our best judgment is and everything like that. And it's going to be more so like who we think is the better hero. In the sense, I don't think it just needs to be like a popular vote. It just needs to be who each of us think is the better hero between all of them. And we're going to use, obviously, our thoughts when it comes to the movies, comic books, cartoons, and stuff like that.
Because as you can see, these are not set up on who, from which individual thing. Even if you look at the pictures, you can get an idea. Like, say, the Joker up in Tom Right, that's from the Arkham Asylum series of Batman game. But we're not going to do it that way. We're just going to do the overall character.
Yeah, we're going to use all the sources that we have in kind of an argument, something like that, if there are any. But we're going to come to agreements and everything like that, kind of just who we think. Same thing, the tiebreaker is that until we figure out, until we get a third person like that, the tiebreaker will be the wheel of the wheel of decisive. So whichever one it lands on, that's who wins if we are split.
Yep.
So without further ado, we're going to start off with, as you see in the regions, we have the Gotham region, Metropolis region, Krypton region, and Asgard region. Not necessarily mean all these characters are from those. It's just the number one, just that there are.
That's just the way they broke
the main
them out.
regions of superhero worlds. So we're going to start off with the Gotham series, going with. And these are funny. These are actually ranked. So we're going to start with the number 1 seed, Batman, versus the number 8 of the Thing from the Fantastic Four.
Batman.
There's no question. It's Batman. Batman's one of the most iconic characters, not only in the superhero world, but just in fictional world in general. And the Thing is a great character, but it's not. That brackets.
Oops, yep, I see that now. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm used to the other bracket.
Yeah. So Batman moves on.
God, if I swear, if Batman wins this thing again.
Well, Batman did not win this thing again.
If he makes it to the championship again.
Very good. Next up, we have Marvel, a battle of Marvel characters. We have the Incredible Hulk versus Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Nope. I'm going to say the Hulk.
All right, then we got
longevity of the character of the comics and everything like that. I do love Iron Man, but I'm going to go a little Hulk. I'm going to go Hulk on this one.
Go Hulk smash on it?
Yep. It doesn't matter what I think. Iron Man is moving on. Staple of the character and everything like that.
All right.
Next, we have The Flash versus Thor. DC's The Flash. Marvel's God of Thunder, Thor. Little history about both of them. Flash. Many different iterations of The Flash. You have Barry Allen, Jay Garrick, Wally West, Bart Allen, and everything like that. So we're just going to use Barry Allen because it's the most known. The Flash and everything like that.
Yeah, good point.
So we're just going to use Barry Allen, which is the common one.
I'm going to go Thor.
We're going to the wheel again because I'm going to go Barry Allen, the Flash. Thor. Moving on.
I don't think we have any question who's this one's going to be.
Oh, we have Wolverine of Marvel versus, we're going to just say Hal Jordan, the original Green Lantern. But there is no question. Wolverine is going to move on.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right. Ooh. Going into the Krypton region, we're going to go with the number 1 seed, Superman, versus the number 8 seed, leader of the X-Men, Professor Xavier. I'm going Superman.
I'm going Professor X.
Really, you're looking for the upset?
Yep, actually I am. Adam also winning.
Well, the upset is real. Professor X is moving on.
I'm just gonna do Pro X. I'm not
That's
gonna
fine.
type it X. All right.
All right, big upset there. So why? Before we move on, I kind of want to. We haven't really talked about any of these characters like that. Why are you picking Professor X over Superman?
Honestly, I'm picking Professor X because of this, especially the impact that he had for mutants in the Marvel world. He actually, if you know, for Charles Xavier, started a school up to help teach mutants how to control the powers, how to adapt them, how to use them, and I think that is just as a as somebody who even comes from like a lot loving to teach and stuff like that and show. I think that's more important. Where unlike where Superman, even though yes, Superman teaches some, but he doesn't teach. He teaches like I think mostly just his own race of people with Kal-El and Kara. Excuse me, Kara. I don't think he's. Obviously he helps out other people, but not in the way that I think Professor X does.
Okay. As we make our picks and like that, we are going to explain kind of our picks. That's kind of what I wanted to do. I didn't want to rush it too much. I want to actually explain why we're going with certain characters. I chose Superman because of superheroes, the history of superheroes, the longevity of superheroes, and the overall like popularity of superheroes wouldn't have really started unless it was Superman that got the ball going. Superman being one of the original superheroes. Now, granted, I do agree with you that Professor X meant a lot to the Marvel world and to the X Men and everything like that. It's just Superman is just so iconic. That's why I kind of went with them. Also because like I can think of so many great storylines with involving Superman and everything like that. But it's not a bad pick for Professor X. We both picked Wolverine. I think he's just a character that really, he's an epitome of the anti-hero because he's not fully good. He's very his mindset's a little bit out there. And just one of the most badass characters and everything like that, as you heard from us talking about the X-Men cartoon that we talked about winning the cartoon bracket and everything like that. Wolverine was one of those characters that really just set the tone of the show and just made you love. We're not gonna go through all of them, everything like that. We're just kind of gonna explain our picks and everything like that. But Professor X is moving on. So now the next matchup is the 4-5 seed. We have Wonder Woman and Daredevil. I'm gonna be a little different. I'm gonna say Daredevil. Because because Daredevil to me, you know, he's one of the very small amount of street heroes that I really loved watching, and his story is really good. His abilities. I loved him in the Daredevil show on Netflix. And I didn't like obviously the movie, but I was kind of more attached to it because it was just a man who, had, you know, he was a man that should not be a superhero. He's a blind man who's out there, who's a great martial artist, who's a lawyer, doing so much for everything like that. I think Wonder Woman was a very wonderful superhero, but I gotta pick Daredevil. I like his stories better.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm actually gonna go with Wonder Woman, iconic, one of the first female, to pretty much break out for just superheroes that became iconic. Uh, One of the leaders of the Justice League, one of the iconic ones of the Justice League that helps to form it. Her background story, being over on the Mysterious, getting out of there because she wanted to see more of the world, and see what she actually learned. There's more to the world than just where she lives, and just having to train and train all the time, be prepared. And yeah, I think she's just had a big impact on the female uh, hero
Well,
universe,
just the
pretty
female fans as well,
and
like,
the fans as well.
especially when Wonder Woman came out in movie theaters, something like that. That was really big. That was really big and like
Yeah.
that. Which I love Gal Gadot as Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
and even going back to like Linda Carter when she first started. Obviously, we've had many voice actors do her in animated series as well. I mean, nothing against Daredevil. I thought he was a pretty cool character too.
Oh yeah. Nothing against any characters that we don't pick and everything like that. It's just we have our preferences. So we're gonna spin the wheel again. Wonder Woman or Daredevil. Daredevil is moving on. All right. Next matchup we have. I think this is an easy matchup. I don't know. You know, you can obviously have your opinion like that. We have Captain America versus Catwoman, the 3 seed versus the 6 seed. My pick is Captain America. I didn't read his comics at all, and I obviously a lot of my love for Captain America comes in the MCU from Chris Evans and everything like that. But the character itself is such a good character, and his stories and everything like that. Catwoman is she's more of a villain, but she, as of lately, have been more of a hero and everything like that.
And then, as we all know, she becomes a love interest to Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
So
I think though, if hero wise, thinking about just them as heroes, Captain America is, the epitome of a hero.
I mean, depends on how we look at this. Actually, oh, that's right. It is broken. Heroes are almost okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Pay attention.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of sure she should actually be in the middle, so to say. But yeah, I more see her as neutral because that's kind of where she's been.
She's not really even on the anti-hero level.
No, because she's always for herself. So whatever helps her, pretty much. But I gotta go with Captain America.
I think there's no question. Captain America wins this. America.
Right, that's almost I did.
All right, moving on to the final matchup of the heroes first round. We have Deadpool at the 7 seed taking on Spider-Man of the 2 seed. I'm gonna let you go first.
Man, this is a toughie because you either got you either got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man or you got the Merc with the mouth Deadpool. Oh, I gotta go Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man way more than I do Deadpool. I'm still learning more about Deadpool, even though I've watched animated series with him. Also, we got the Ryan Reynolds movies, but there's just so many adaptations of him. But Spider-Man classic. Love his story. Kid that had to go live with his parents, aunt and uncle, that he adores. Unfortunately, Uncle Ben gets killed, and what drives him to become a superhero and all that stuff. So yeah, Spider-Man for me.
Spider-Man's easily going to move on. I mean, you're talking about when you think about superheroes, obviously you think about Batman and Superman, but of the Marvel world, it is Spider-Man. One of Stan Lee's, one of the things that, the great Stan Lee, this is his pride. He takes pride on, he always telling loves the story of Spider-Man and
Mary Jane
and everything like that. But Spider-Man as a character, thinking about everything that he's been in, we're talking cartoons. I've seen all the Spider-Man cartoons between the 60s, the animated one from Fox Kids. We're talking Spectacular Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. I would take that back. I've not seen all of them because I've never seen the MTV Spider-Man show or this new one that came out on Disney. But you're talking all the Spider-Man movies. You're talking, 8 movies of Spider-Man that I honestly don't think there's a bad Spider-Man movie. All 3 characters were amazing. Spider-Man is just one of those characters that you also can really kind of relate to because, he's not this perfect kid. He struggles with finances, love, and school and trying to maintain everything. And that's kind of like a daily life that people go through.
At a young adult's, life.
Yeah. Spider-Man, and he has, and we'll see in the next column, some great villains, but he's got such a great rogue gallery. I mean, I love a lot of his stories. So, yeah, Spider-Man moves on. It's going to be hard for me to pick anyone else but Spider-Man.
Yeah. All right, we are now moving over to the villain side. Starting off with number 1, Joker versus number 8, Mystique.
There is no question for me who is going to win this one. Kelly might have a different say, and I would like to know his side. But it's Joker. You're talking the most iconic villain, one of the most devastating villains in all of comic book history. Joker has pushed Batman to the brink of, absolute murdering him, which is what he wants.
Yep.
And there's a lot of adaptations where Joker has pushed Batman to the point where he breaks him. And there are a lot of people that question Batman for how he handles the Joker. The Joker should be dead. The Joker should have died. But Batman never kills him. And in a way, that kind of makes people not like Batman because he doesn't kill the Joker. And I think one of my favorite Joker lines was in The Dark Knight when Joker called him out and said, you're never gonna kill me because you need me. And that's one of the most
We're destined to do this forever.
Exactly. And it's one of those like eerie lines that you think about the Batman and Joker history, that it's so true. They need each other. So there's some great stories. If you ever want to read some good stories or watch some good movies, watch anything with Batman and Joker. It's fucking good. Your pick? Obviously you broke down Joker.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Probably one of the best villains of all time. The sadistic, the anarchist, the gangster even. Just, you can't go wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, Mystique. You can't even match up to Joker.
You really can't. And she's a good character. She's one of the great X-Men villains. But she also, in some adaptations, becomes a hero too. So it's kind of one of those things where she's a villain, but she's also not. Again, you just gotta. There's no one it's really gonna be hard to defeat the Joker.
Yeah.
So next matchup, we have the 4-5 seed. We have Ultron versus Dark Phoenix.
If you don't mind, I'll start off with this one. I'm gonna go with Ultron because they're getting the same thing here. Jean Grey as the Phoenix. Yeah, goes through that phase where it starts off. She's Jean Grey. Good person all of a sudden, but then the Phoenix comes out in her and it changed her whole personality to wanting to destroy pretty much almost everything or everyone, and she can't control this power. And same kind of thing. She's both anti-hero, but to me, I always look at Phoenix as a good person, where Ultron was, created to become the perfect, I guess to say android. I forget or synthetic.
No, it's technically android. Yeah.
It depends on how you look at him, but Ultron, had more forward, taking out the whole race because he wanted to have a perfect world. So that's
I'm gonna go Ultron too, but so a little bit of background about Ultron outside it. So the real comic and everything like that, he was made by Hank Pym and everything like that. So he was made to kind of make a perfect world without flaws or evil. So, but in Ultron's mind, instead of thinking of just the villains, it's more he thought of humanity. And there are a lot of really good stories. And I remember reading one, I think it was called Age of Ultron or something like that. But it was a world where Ultron had killed and taken over the world, putting it in an apocalyptic world, and the Avengers having to go back in time to defeat Ultron at an early state. He's one of the most iconic villains of the Avengers. He's a very iconic in Marvel history. One that is he's hard to beat. And I remember watching, one of my favorite things was I think it was Avengers Assemble cartoon. They had fought Thanos, and then what I'm realizing is actually not on this list. That's actually a shocker.
Huh.
They defeated Thanos, but the way to do it was to use Ultron, which then he turned around and had the Infinity Stones and became Ultron with the Infinity Stones. So Ultron is one of the most devastating, villains out there. I think he's one of the best in the Marvel history. So Ultron easily moves past this one. I like the Dark Phoenix storyline, but again, it's like you said,
But it's not.
it's more so a
It's
character that's
it's just a brief. It's just a brief time.
it's brief, but it's a character who's still trying to find their way into what they really are. So it starts off evil because everyone wants, is in her mind, everyone wants to control the Dark Phoenix and everything like that. But then she realizes that people are just trying to protect her and trying to make sure that she doesn't kill the world because it's not what she wants to do.
This even goes back to, like Charles Xavier, like I was talking about before. He went out and he found her. He found, he has this Phoenix in there that if it broke out, it would cause, catastrophic events, mass murder, stuff like that. And yeah, she was somebody that actually really needed him a lot, even though unfortunately it eventually does break out. And you see what happens if you've seen the animated series or even the movies. It becomes uncontrollable.
Unfortunately, we haven't had a really good Phoenix storyline in a movie. But moving on, we have the 3 and the 6 seed, which I think actually this dude should be a number 1 seed. Darkseid of DC versus Venom of Marvel. Do you want to take the lead on this one?
Go ahead.
It's Darkseid. It's Darkseid. Darkseid is legitimately one of my favorite villains. He is the most badass characters. He shows no emotion. He really portrays that villain so well that he does fear Superman because Superman's the only one who can legitimately go toe to toe. But he ultimately does not fear him because he is better. And ultimately, too, what you normally see of Darkseid, that's just a variant of Darkseid. He's really actually this cosmic being. He's very threatening, especially his posture and everything he does. And, he has no shame in anything. I love Venom, but there's really easy ways to beat Venom where you don't know a single way to beat Darkseid. And I think that what makes him a better villain than Venom. Because Venom's just out to kill Spider-Man. That's all he is. Darkseid's out to just destroy the world and take over. And one of my favorite Darkseid stories, actually, we watched it, Justice League War Doom. Remember that last movie we saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie. And shows exactly what Darkseid's all about.
Yeah.
Darkseid for me.
Yeah, I think you actually just nailed it all right there. I really would like to go with Venom. I really good, but gotta go with Darkseid.
Venom on any other character could probably win.
Yeah, I think so. But unfortunately, in this situation, you gotta go with Darkseid because Venom does not quite get to the point of where Darkseid is. He's not on his level.
No,
depending on where you go with, like there was this thing where I think it was where Venom ended up having to consume like everybody or something just to help save the world.
Yeah,
one time, but it was like okay, but
he's another anti-hero. He's another anti-hero.
But yeah.
So Darkseid easily moving on. There's no debate on that one. Next up, Lex Luthor, arch rival of Superman versus Red Skull, the arch rival of Captain America.
That's actually a funny coincidence. The two like almost leading guys.
The two patriotic superheroes. I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna pick Lex Luthor. I look at the popularity of the character, the longevity of the character. I don't know Red Skull very much except for the Captain America movie. Lex is a lot more deviant, becoming president, making everyone hate Superman, always finding ways to build Kryptonian armor to defeat Superman. There's so much that Lex has done that he plays a very good dictator, leader, villain. So, Red Skull, thanks for coming, but for me, it's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Lex Luthor as well. Red Skull, besides, he wants power. He's looking for power. You also got to remember this. Red Skull came from like the World War II era early on. Somehow he survived as well, and came to the future with Captain America. But he really, besides just looking for power, looking for artifacts, tried, to make him become a leader. But Lex, the lengths that he goes, like you just said, this guy is so threatened by superheroes because he knows that they can stop him, that he's willing to do anything, stop him just so he can rule pretty much over the world because that's where he wants to get at. I think at one point Lex actually becomes like president.
Yeah, he does.
And like even then he's still threatened by like Superman stuff, but he does it to get to that point just so they can't touch him. So
well, on that too, there's funny is when he becomes president, Superman fights back. Everyone starts questioning Superman as a good person. So Lex Luthor moves on. Now we have in the last region we have number 1 seeded Magneto versus number 8 seeded Black Adam. Honestly, I would have taken out Black Adam and put Thanos here, but anyways, I'm going Magneto. One of the greatest characters in X-Men, the most iconic villain in X-Men. Someone who also could be considered an anti-hero because of his relationship, but I think one of the things that I love about him is his relationship with Charles. They are best friends. They are brothers, but they are on opposite sides. They respect each other on opposite sides and know they have to stop each other. Magneto is one of the best stories in one of the mutants' history, so Magneto moves on.
Yeah, I'm going to be going with Magneto as well. I still need to know more about Black Adam. I haven't even watched the Black Adam movie yet with The Rock because it's 50-50 on what it is, especially too what has come out. I'm still going to watch it, but the only thing I know with Black Adam is like, yeah, he's supposed to be like an anti-hero, but his foe is Shazam. Magneto, I've known the longest because of his backstory. Like Ryan had said, him and Charles were best friends. They both had the same objective, but they went at it different ways for the mutant race. Obviously, Charles wanted more peace between humans and mutants, where Magneto wanted to exterminate all the humans because the mutants would rise up because of how strong they were, and he was afraid that the humans were going to kill off the mutants.
Well, his also past too. His past
too. Where he, depending on how you look at it, because he was in Germany. There's talking, he was part of the concentration camps back then, and where his family had died, where he was abused and all that. But yeah, Magneto is definitely got to move on.
Magneto moves on.
I mean, the guy is probably one of the most. Kind of feel sorry for him as a villain because of all the hardship he goes through. Even though he realizes at certain states, he'll rise up to for the better of like even the whole Earth, but he still puts the mutants on top. But still, he's looking out for his kind, but he goes too extreme.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where you love the relationship him and Charles have because they know that they have the, like Kelly said, they have the same goal in mind, but they go about it in different ways, and they respect each other because they know they can never turn each other to be the other way. So they know they have to stand up to each other, but they know it's never going to be a bloodbath between the two.
Yeah, that's why exactly. You always tell them that they will respect each other. Even Magneto has backed up, Charles, especially when another. One of his henchmen has said something bad about Charles, going to kill him and everything. He's like, "No, you're not."
Oh yeah,
you have no idea what.
One of the greatest moments of that was in X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Pyro had said, "If you go to give me the chance, I could have took out the Professor well." And Eric, not even missing me, turned around and said, "You show respect to this great man and everything like that." This is, and again, also when you talk about iconic characters being played, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart as Charles and Xavier, as Charles and Magneto, so good.
You couldn't
Michael Fassbender and Sean McAvoy. Is it Sean McAvoy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, they stepped in and filled the role just perfectly. It's literally like watching them. I love it. Those four actors made such great. So moving on, we have. However you want to pronounce it. We have Ra's al Ghul, you have Ra's al Ghul. I've always said Ra's al Ghul. So we have Ra's al Ghul, Batman's mentor and iconic villain, versus Kingpin. Not really tied to one character. He's kind of a big Marvel
they
villain.
Both are, actually, if you look at it. They both got their own foes different foes.
Kingpin
Multiple
is
foes, excuse me.
yeah, they have multiple foes. Ra's al Ghul kind of being with the Green Arrow and with Batman. Kingpin kind of leaning towards more Daredevil and Spider-Man. This one is tough. This one is very tough.
Yes, I was looking at what you were talking, and I'm like,
I'm gonna go with one that I know more, and I'm gonna go with Kingpin because I think with Ra's al Ghul, he taught Batman everything and has the same mindset as Batman, except for it's like Magneto and Professor X. It's still for the greater good or going a little too extreme. Kingpin though, running, he's been pure evil. So as a villain, I gotta go Kingpin. Plus, I loved him in Spider-Man, the animated series. I loved how he was portrayed in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Vincent D'Onofrio in Daredevil. Michael Clark Duncan and I know a lot of people didn't like the movie, but in my mind, the reason why the movie was any good was because of Michael Clark Duncan. Just so good. Ra's al Ghul, the only time I ever loved you was when you were played by Liam Neeson. That's because he's fucking Liam Neeson. So I actually didn't like his performance in Arrow. I thought that was bad.
Different adaptation, probably. Yeah. But yeah. I'm actually Kingpin as well. I've always liked Kingpin more. Kind of the same story, a little bit of the same story as Magneto. He using what he can to get to a higher point where he can't be touched by mutants, pretty much. Started out as just pretty much a thug on the streets, and because of his size and weight, everybody used to make fun of him and stuff. Well, he pretty much said, "You know what? I'm going to show you guys." He became very smart. He's very strong. Big guy's even athletic, believe it or not, for his size. But the guy is he's a mastermind, believe it or not. He's always looking forward. He's always steps ahead, for everything. Also an iconic villain as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said. Yeah, Kingpin.
All right, Kingpin is moving on. Next up, we have Loki, brother of Thor, god of mischief of Marvel, versus Green Goblin, arch nemesis to Spider-Man, also Marvel. Go ahead and go first.
This is a little tough. I'm actually gonna go. Green Goblin on this one, especially with the Norman Osborn story.
I think we just gotta look at Norman. I don't think we gotta look at Harry Osborn's story. I think we just go with Norman.
Well, there's even where he just pulled some thug out the street as well.
Yeah, let's just go with the Norman Osborn.
Yeah, we're gonna go with the Norman Osborn one for this one. Loki, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. As much as Loki has become a really fun character, especially played by Tom Hiddleston in the series and stuff, he's done a great job with him. I actually like the Green Goblin more sadistic. He's kind of like the version of Joker almost. And with Spider-Man, he'll do anything. He likes to play games with Spider-Man, trying to trick him and hopefully kill him or take him out. Yeah, plus the guy is also alter ego of Norman that becomes, even though he becomes more sadistic, but he's also got that mind, that scientist mind there. So his gliders are amazing with weaponized and tracking and all that stuff that he gets. And it's also another one of those ones too where Spider-Man won't even kill him, so it's kind of like where they're always gonna fight each other forever. So, but yeah, like I said, I gotta go with him because Loki, to me, I'm sorry, you're kind of like the whiny little big brother that didn't get everything the big brother had, and instead you try to go and kill him off, and it's yeah, I've heard that story before.
So again showing love to Loki. I will be honest, I never heard of you until I watched Avengers. I think that unless you were a Thor fan, or obviously if you knew Norse mythology, I never
Yeah.
did anything like that. But I'm speaking of just the comics alone. If you actually were a Thor fan, not a lot of people really knew Loki and everything like that. So he got on the map really with Tom Hiddleston, in my opinion. For me, however, it's so weird because the movies have made him from a villain to he's more of a misunderstood villain and everything like that. However, my pick is Green Goblin for many different reasons, and one, again, just the arch nemesis to my favorite hero, Spider Man. But like what he's done, like he killed Gwen Stacy, and there was actually a deeper. So, did you ever hear about that comic that how he killed Gwen Stacy and everything like that, threw out for bridge and everything like that?
I may have, but I don't remember.
Okay, so the most iconic story is that he had killed Gwen Stacy. He's known that Peter Parker is Spider-Man and goes to great lengths to break Spider-Man, to hurt him in many different ways. One of them was killing Gwen Stacy and everything like that, who was Spider-Man's first love. Also, they came out with a backstory that Gwen and Norman Osborn actually had an affair with each other, and he was carrying her baby, or she was carrying his baby. Green Goblin is also one of the most iconic villains. And I will also say this, in every cartoon adaptation, it was always done well. But the most iconic superhero villain played on a movie, Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man 1. You do see him in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies kind of as a image and everything like that. But then he comes back in Spider-Man No Way Home. Still does an amazing job. Goblin is one of those characters, very much like Joker, where he's out to just hurt his arch nemesis. He doesn't get the satisfaction of just killing him. He needs to hurt him in many different ways.
Yeah.
And that's a true epitome of a villain. Green Goblin easily moves on. Last matchup of the villains of round 1, we have kind of a good one. I really want to hear this argument. Doctor Doom and Galactus.
All right. You want me to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Because you know what? This might be surprising. Galactus is the Eater of Worlds, the Devourer of Worlds. He's this big entity and everything like that. Main protagonist of the Fantastic Four, as we see him fight a lot and everything like that. But I'm going to go with the most iconic one, not only for the Fantastic Four, because this guy is the main villain, but to all Marvel. He's one of the most devastating villains of all time because he plays a diplomatic part and politician part. I'm going to go Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. He is one of the most iconic villains in DC. He's very, very smart. He's very, very rich. He's a leader of his own country and Latveria and everything like that. And he plays that so well that he does everything from his own country, and he knows that they cannot step foot on his country because that is causing international war. Doctor Doom is one of the most smartest villains out there, and I love him for it.
Yeah. I'm going to go Doctor Doom as well, also because I still don't know much about Galactus. Yeah, I've seen him in some animated series, but I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen enough about him. I think I saw him, in maybe Avengers, one of the shows, The Assemble or Mightiest Heroes. I think maybe he had one episode or something like that.
He was in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I know that.
I know I've seen him in one, but it was only for one. Maybe even in X-Men. Can't remember, in the 90s. Maybe.
He mostly fights the Fantastic Four, but that's because Reed has a way of fighting him and everything.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen enough about him, but I do know Doctor Doom. He's also a rival of Spider-Man as well.
Exactly.
But iconic guy that fights the Fantastic Four, and Ryan pretty much hit it. Romania. Latveria.
Yeah.
But I think I like Romania.
I don't know if it's a real country or anything like that, but it's over in that region. It's in Eastern Europe and everything like that, but it's Latveria, very similar to Romania and everything like that, but it's its own thing and everything like that. So Doctor Doom, moving on. Yeah. Now we go to round 2, the Sweet 16 of our starting with heroes.
So this is actually funny right now. This is actually kind of funny. The 2 superheroes that don't have powers.
So I'm actually going to point out one thing real quick. Look at our heroes and look at our villains.
Yeah.
All right, we are pretty even.
Batman, Joker.
No, hold on a second. We're pretty even on the villain side, right? We are very pro Marvel for this. This is all Marvel. We have 3 DC here, right?
Also, if you look at Batman, Joker.
Yep.
You have Iron Man. Yeah, Ultron. I actually kind of.
So this one here, we have all Marvel except for one DC superhero. We picked one DC superhero to surpass. So I have a theory on that, and I'm going to say at the very end while we get to that like that. So we're going to go with our first. We're going to go with our first round here and like that. We're going to go Batman versus Iron Man. I love Iron Man. I love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. But the iconicness of the one character, Batman, it trumps the Iron Man. I'm sorry. It's Batman.
It has to, especially, Iron Man has to use a suit of armor pretty much and gadgets to help himself out. Not only just to stay alive, but to fight. Where Batman, yes, uses gadgets, but it's his own, uses his mind.
He has a high IQ.
He's the greatest detective.
But not only that, though, but thinking of media time, like movies and show, you got Batman series, Batman Beyond. You have all these different Batman movies. You have Batman video games. I'm sorry, Iron Man. I love you to death, but you get trumped by Batman.
Yeah.
Next matchup, we have Thor, the God of Thunder, versus Wolverine. I think this is actually, and I love Thor. Don't get me wrong. And Thor is my best friend Kit's character, and I love you and everything like that. But Wolverine is so iconic. It's so hard to beat that.
Yeah.
I think of too, for me personally, if it wasn't for the Avengers movies, this would be a lot easier. But Wolverine, I didn't need anything except for the 90s cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you even throw Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Oh, so good. So
even
good.
like X-Men like Evolution or Wolverine the X-Men.
Yeah.
Just that 90s series alone, it's Wolverine. That's who you always expect to see.
Yeah. But you talk about too, like Wolverine's been through a lot more. You know what I mean? He, for losing his memory, and actually one of my favorite comic series. If you ever get the chance to read it, I know you don't really read comics, but if you ever find it, Old Man Logan, phenomenal series. All right, this next matchup, this one's a good matchup. This is Professor.
Yes, I pick Wolverine as well. If you guys need to know.
Obviously, when Kelly writes it down, we kind of already agreed on that.
Yes.
If we didn't agree, we'll do the spinner. We haven't done the spinner because we've been pretty even on this.
Yeah, we're actually pretty good so far.
We have Professor Xavier versus Daredevil. I know I picked Daredevil in the last matchup. I gotta go with Professor X though.
I'm still gonna roll with Professor X over this.
I think Professor X, like you said, I love Daredevil. I love him as a character and everything like that. But Professor X is just an iconic character that the X-Men wouldn't be the X-Men without him.
Exactly. I mean, especially fighting for mutant rights for many years as well. And as I said earlier, the whole school. So
well, he really fights for equality between
yes.
between non-mutants and mutants. So that last matchup of the heroes, we have Captain America, Spider-Man. Go ahead and go first.
Spider-Man's my pick. I mean, I'm sorry. I love the guy. I used to watch his shows over and over as a kid. Just like Ryan had said, this guy goes, he acts like a normal young guy struggling to, having to make, some of the worst decisions as a hero. He goes through the most hardship, I believe, more than Captain America he does.
Yep.
Where Spider-Man, he got his powers by accident, where Captain America, just signed up to be a test subject.
Yep.
So that is my pick. It's Spider-Man.
If you know me, I'm never gonna pick against it. It's Spider-Man. Like, he is the epitome of superheroes in my opinion. Next matchup, we have Joker versus Ultron. As much as I would think this is a hard matchup, it's actually pretty easy for me. It's Joker. It's Joker.
I mean, I'm sorry, this right here. I'm sorry, Joker's way up there more than Ultron.
And it's funny too, is you think about they both have very similar aspects and like that. However, Joker takes everything to a so higher level. There's nothing that compares to Ultron to him.
Because Ultron, only has one he only has one
Motive.
one motive, one end game.
Yeah.
Where Joker's like, I'm just gonna fuck with everybody, pretty much.
One of the funniest things about Joker that I love the most is that there was an episode in Batman the Animated Series. Harley was trying to impress Joker so much she captured Batman and was going to kill Batman to please Joker.
But he stopped her.
Joker stopped it and smacked her.
Yeah,
and said, "How dare you?" That's
mine.
That's
mine.
That's very psychotic, psychopathic, and that's something I love about Joker is you never know what's exactly going in his head. You would think, oh, he'd be very happy. Someone's going to kill Batman.
Yeah.
No, he wants to be the one that does it. Next matchup, we have Darkseid and Lex Luthor.
Ooh, two iconic DC villains.
There's no question for me. I want to hear you go first because I have a very easy answer.
I'm actually going to roll with Lex, mostly because I know Lex more. I've seen more of him. Darkseid, I need to know more about Darkseid. Yeah, I can remember some stuff from animated movies and obviously TV shows, but I want more backstory. I need to know more backstory about Darkseid. Okay. That's me, but I know Darkseid could obviously whip Lex, easily.
But this isn't like who's going to fight who and everything like that.
I know, but I'm just saying, but I like, the whole mindset of Lex, always having, backups and so
yeah. My pick is Darkseid because of everything I said before. There's no better true villain in a superhero world than Darkseid.
You're literally talking about the top two arch villains of Superman. So
yeah. So we're going to do the wheel. This is the first time we've done the wheel in quite some time, actually, since the first round. So Darkseid for me, Lex Luthor for Kelly. Darkseid is moving on.
That's fair enough. I don't object to that whatsoever. I mean, like I said, that's a hard pick, honestly.
It's a very hard pick. You can't go wrong with Lex. And honestly, if it was a different matchup, I would have picked Lex Luthor because he is iconic to facing Superman. But so is Darkseid. But Darkseid does things in such a different way. I think of more true villains. Next matchup, we have Magneto versus the Kingpin. I'm going Magneto.
I have to go Magneto as well.
I think there's just Kingpin's really just a mobster and everything like that at the end of the day. And Magneto, again, is fighting. The one thing I love about him is that you think that he's fighting for the greater good, but he does it in a bad way.
Yeah. Kingpin, he's just, like I said, he likes his money. He likes having all these high-tech stuff. Where he just wants to be popular, pretty much. He wants to be untouchable. He wants to be untouchable.
He's a true mobster. He's a true mobster. Yeah. He wants to. Oh, we're gonna do different. How are we gonna do the? Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Green Goblin versus Doctor Doom for the last matchup of this round. I am gonna go more iconicness. I'm gonna go Doctor Doom. I just. The way that he kind of plays his dictatorship, his level of leadership and how smart he is and like that, I gotta go with
I'm gonna go with Doom as well. Yeah, because like I said, Goblin's pretty much the DC version of Joker to me. So pick
on the goal line for Bengals.
Damn. Yep. Pick 6 in the damn.
Yep.
Sorry, we have the Ravens and Bengals game going on too.
Yep.
All right.
So
all right.
Doom is moving on.
Doom is moving on. Even though Goblin could, I thought about going there so we could do a spinner, but I'm like, no. Doom is more deserving.
It's really hard because there's a lot of people that deserve these spots and like that, but the matchups just don't play in their favor. We're going back now to the Elite A. We're gonna pick our final 4. We start off with, in our Heroes round, the winner of the Gotham region will be either Batman or Wolverine. Very similar to our 90s cartoon with Batman versus X-Men the Animated Series. I again have to just pick him by the fact that he is just so iconic. It's Batman.
We're gonna have to let fate decide this one, as I gotta go with Wolverine. Not because I have this shirt on, but
Which is my shirt, by the way.
he made me wear this one for this. I know you can't quite see it, but I've always enjoyed Wolverine more. I mean, the guy is so iconic just in the superhero world. I think he's still number one, maybe, because I know there was always this thing with the movies coming out. You know, when a movie would come out with like Batman, like the Christian Bale ones, even the X series that started. You know, it actually helped jump both their rankings up in the superhero world.
So we will spin it now to see who moves on. Wolverine is upsetting Batman and moving on to the final four. All right.
You can't go wrong with either one, though. I will say that.
You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. Amazing. X-Men has now upsetted Batman twice in these brackets. Next matchup, we have Professor X and Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man.
It is. I'm sorry. I love you, Professor X, but
there's no question. There's no better hero than Spider-Man. And I can argue with that to any Superman, Batman, any fan of any other superhero. I will fight of how well Spider-Man is much of a hero more than anybody. Next matchup, we have the Joker versus Darkseid for our first villains finals matchup.
I'm going Joker.
It's hard to not pick him. It's hard not to pick him. I'm going with the Joker.
All right.
And then last matchup we have Doctor Doom and Magneto.
You know, this would make a great fight.
This would.
It'd be interesting to see who would win that in an actual fight.
Well, the problem with both of them is that if Doom doesn't prepare, Magneto easily crushes him because of his metal. But Doom is also very smart.
Exactly.
This is why I'm picking Doctor Doom to upset Magneto.
I'm actually going with Magneto.
All right.
I'll have to spin it on
Kelly loves his X-Men. Will it work out for him? It is not. Doctor Doom moves on. Setting up our final four matchup, the winner of the Heroes brackets. I have to do it different.
I am.
All right. The winner of the Heroes bracket will come down between Wolverine and Spider-Man. Go first.
Ouch. Ouch. Especially, I'm wearing the X-Men. You got the Spider-Man on. Oh. You know what? I'm going to go with Spider-Man.
Wolverine, I love you to death. But there is no comparison in my mind. And it's not. And I know that a lot of this is kind of based on. Because again, a lot of this is like who we prefer, right? Who we love more. And if anyone knows me, it is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is, in my mind, the greatest superhero of all time. Spider-Man is winning the Heroes bracket and moving on to the championship matchup.
I think actually they actually are the championship, so it's like actually doing for both. But we can actually do.
We'll do like
between these two.
Yep. Next matchup for the winner of the Heroes brackets.
Villains.
We have two iconic characters. We have DC versus Marvel. We have the Joker versus Doctor Doom. Do you want me to go first or you go first?
I'll just get out of the way because I've been rolling with him the whole time. I'm going with Joker over Doom. I don't think there's nothing needs to be said about it, but
there isn't, because there is no better villain than the Joker. Joker moves on and wins it. Setting up our matchup.
I'm actually glad this worked out because I was watching these and I'm like, God, is it going to actually come down to the heroes going up against one of their nemesis? Because Doom is a nemesis of Spider-Man.
Yep.
I mean, the Batman was going to be Joker, and it was like, oh.
Well, I'll be honest. If it was Batman versus
even Professor X and Magneto, it was like, oh.
I will be honest here. If it was Batman versus Spider-Man, I still would have taken. I'm sorry, he's better.
Yeah.
So now it leads to the big debate of heroes versus villains. Who is a more iconic character in the Big Fat Dubs bracket? We have Spider Man versus the Joker. There is a lot that can be said about this matchup here. You have one side, you think about the Joker, you think about everything that he has done in everything that there was world of DC, to all the times that he has fucked with Batman, to paralyzing Barbara Gordon, to ripping. This is a really fucked up comic. To he had ripped the skin off of his face and sewed it back on, and showed Batman that he takes off his mask, he's still the same Joker, implying that his Bat family, which was Nightwing, Red Hood, Batgirl, and Robin, that they are not who they are. To killing or tricking Superman into killing Lois Lane and their unborn child. To killing Jason Todd Robin. And
It's because he went after, he went after the weak points.
He went after the weak points.
The weakness in them.
But then you have Spider-Man, who has been through the loss of his parents.
That guy's been through hell. Let's just say that.
Oh, we're going to list it for anyone that doesn't know. The loss of his Uncle Ben. The loss of his first love, Gwen Stacy. The inconsistency he has with Mary Jane. To trying to be a high school student, trying to survive in college, trying to make money, trying not to be broke, trying to provide to his Aunt May, and hiding the fact that he is Spider-Man from her. To, kind of as things start to get better for him, something always makes a turn. One storyline is One More Day storyline when, so this was during the time of Civil War. There was a hit out for Spider-Man because they knew he was Peter Parker, and it shot Aunt May, and Spider-Man was making a deal with the devil, Mephisto, and he had Mephisto really messed with them and showed a little girl. Well, that little girl was Mary Jane and Peter Parker's daughter in the future that they would have had. Mary Jane ultimately making the ultimate sacrifice, making Peter forget their marriage in order to save Aunt May. So he had to give up his marriage because they were deemed a perfect marriage in order to this to happen. Going through many different things. This is a good matchup between someone of a hero who's been through it all to a Joker who's going to the furthest limits to win. That being said, Kelly, who is your pick for the greatest hero-villain bracket of Big Fat Dubs?
I mean, hands down for me, it's Spider-Man. Mostly because, the hell that guy has to go through as a hero, just it tops that. Yes, Joker goes to the extreme, but I think you see that with almost every villain. They try to go right at their nemesis, head on a lot. But then when they realize that, they always start to break out and go for what they know as their weakness. Like you said, he goes for Batgirl, he goes Barbara Gordon, he goes for Drake, Jason Todd, even Gordon's family as well.
Mm-hmm.
At times, he will do anything. And Spider-Man's kind of that same way as well sometimes. He has to make, that ultimate, that decision that, a lot of heroes always have to make. Sometimes, you have to choose, do you save so-and-so or do you save this one? I think Spider-Man's got it harder in his life. So, plus being iconic as hell. Like I said, one of Stan Lee's his all-time favorite character. Plus, I enjoyed watching. I mean, come on, I used to have a Spider-Man like onesie suit when I was a kid. I used to think, I could be Spider-Man. So it's gotta be. And so Joker, you obviously can be there as well. You've had so many iconic moments, voice actors as well. But yeah, it's Spider-Man for me, man.
Good.
We should do it.
No, we're not doing it because Spider-Man is the winner. Spider-Man.
Okay, that's.
I love the Joker. Don't get me wrong, and everything like that, but it's hard to really pick a villain over a superhero in the sense that the villain is only made because of the hero. That being said, there is no better villain than the Joker, and that's beating any other villain that we've seen. You know, we've seen him take out Darkseid in this bracket. We've seen him take out Doctor Doom. There was no question that Joker was not going to win the villains category. However, we're talking villains and heroes. No matter who he would have faced in the finals, there is no question that I would have picked. I definitely would have picked Spider-Man in any aspect because of, like I said, like Kelly said, the journey that Spider-Man has been on to where he is now is literally the most respectful thing in the world. He is the epitome of a hero. Because you look when you think of heroes, obviously you think of Superman, he's got all the powers and everything like that. You think of Batman, he's got the badassness and everything like that. But why don't we take a kid that's literally a kid, give him the technical smartness and fighting styles of Batman, but the kind-heartedness of Superman. Put them together, you have Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is our pick for the big fat dubs, superhero villains brackets. Congratulations, Spider-Man. You deserve that honor, and honestly could not have gone to anybody better.
Yeah, I don't think so. I do believe, though, if Wolverine would have made it, I think I actually would have picked Joker over him.
That is very true. So, if we think about the matchups and everything like that, if Wolverine faced the Joker, I would have picked Joker. Because I don't, it's not that I don't love Wolverine, it's because you got to think of iconicness. And yeah, Mark Hamill, best Joker ever. Heath Ledger, best live action performance of the Joker ever. Spider-Man, though, the moments you see of Spider-Man No Way Home with all three Spider-Man, one of my favorite moments in comic book movies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's been other voice actors that have played Joker.
Just thinking of iconicness, though.
But yeah, iconicness. There's been some great voice actors. Don't get me wrong, I can't remember them all, but yes, always Mark Hamill will be always.
He's kind of the go-to.
And like you said, Heath Ledger. Even in the new Robert Pattinson one, we got a hint of him, but we don't know what kind of Joker we're gonna get, even if we're even gonna get him. So yeah, Spider-Man it's him. That guy literally has been to the top and been to the bottom so many times where, he thinks his life is going great and all that stuff. And just to all of a sudden, just for it just to fucking go to hell in, an instant.
And that's what I mean, though. It's like, it's so true. The fact that, like, this kid, this guy, and it's so real to us, and I've been through there too, where you get to a point where you're comfortable, where you're good, where you're starting to feel on top of the world. But it takes one thing to fuck that up, and you're back at the bottom, climbing your way. That's what Spider-Man's always been about. He's been the kid who's never had it fully gone his way. And, what's funny is I remember reading the Death of Spider-Man comic book. And so everyone knew that he was Peter Parker and everything like that. And they had a big funeral. Maybe they didn't want a funeral like that. But what Spider-Man's meant not to only us as fans, but to the world of comics is, you couldn't help but love him. Because he was that guy that always came out and helped you no matter what. He'd take a bullet for you. He would, do what you can. He's just the most iconic character. So Spider-Man taking the big fat dub. My man. All right, thank you guys. Let us know what you guys think of this bracket. See who would you pick throughout the rounds, who have you picked in the championship and everything like that. Let us know what you guys think and everything like that. Who is your favorite iconic hero? Obviously, we didn't create these ourselves. This is ones that we find, and we're just going from there. But let us know what you guys think. Like, comment, punch that notification bell. Kelly, you got anything?
No, this was great, actually. I thought we knew we were going to find a DC versus Marvel bracket here eventually. as I mentioned before, we are going to do a movie one too.
We found a DC and Marvel's movie bracket as well for all the movies, so that's going to be a big one.
But to do just individual characters, I think is great as well. Obviously, there's some characters we still need to know, we don't know as much about right now, but they are interested. We are interested in them. We just need to know more. So that played a factor into our decisions. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. This is our second episode here doing something like this, and this is actually fun because it's literally we get to share what we think of these characters, what we remember from movies, from animated series, from comic books. Like I even brought up, like I said, I had a Spider-Man outfit, but I also had a Superman too when I was a little kid.
So. Oh yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I dressed up as Batman for Halloween. I dressed up as Superman one year. I never dressed up as Spider-Man, but I had a ton of Spider-Man toys, movies, merchandise. Spider-Man was always my guy, and same with Batman. It would have been hard for me with Batman and Spider-Man because that's my childhood right there. Still would have gone with Spider-Man, but it's just stuff like this is always fun to do. And again, the people we didn't pick didn't mean we didn't actually like the character. It's just kind of how it worked out, you know.
It's our opinions.
I know some people can say something as like, oh, well, Green Lantern easily top Wolverine. This is not a matchup of who would win in a fight because I think that would be completely different. But this is more of who we're more fans of.
I'm pretty sure people who have read comics, books, that are more deep into these characters would have different opinions for each one. But
let's be real. Like, in a physical fight, Professor X versus Superman kind of takes all the superheroes out. You know what I mean? But again, stuff like that. Some great matchups where we've seen upsets for. Much respect to all the superheroes that, were in this bracket and everything like that, and the villains as well. But again, we're just going by more iconicness and who we felt was a better choice. So, thank you guys. As always, remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. And as always, folks, tune into the next one, which will be our superhero movies bracket. We have the MCU, Marvel Studios, which is different, DC, and everything like that. We're going to combine them all. It's got a bracket made and everything like that. And it's going to be very good. And that's kind of more my domain because I'm a movie buff. So
I'm a movie buff.
Exactly. So thank you guys.
One quick thing. I know I said that we got you do this following. I'm actually going to release this on Thursday, just so you guys don't have to wait for it. And also, because usually toward the end of the week, we haven't really been posting a whole lot of stuff lately. So you're going to see something, obviously this will come out, like I said, then. So you've already would have had two things. Plus, we'll be doing a live stream probably in that time too. So this gives something for you guys at the end of the week. So stay tuned for that.
Exactly. I think we're going to do multiple a week and send out ones on, we'll have bracket Tuesday and bracket Thursday. Give you guys a little bit of, content and everything like that as we move forward and start to build more content and everything like that. So let us know what brackets you want to do. We are going to reach some more, not just superheroes, but we're going to do Star Wars. We're looking at some Star Wars ones. We can do a bunch of different ones.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it. I thought of a cartoon one that should have been on that list, but it was not. Avatar.
I was actually just thinking an Avatar bracket.
Damn it. I just came to my mind.
The Last Airbender, by the way.
Yeah. Fuck that Avatar, James Cameron. It's all about the airbender. And as always, folks, as we send you off, comment and a homie, send you home to mommy.
Thank you guys all very much. See you in the next one.
See you.